What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Sports Debates. I'm Ryan, joined here by Aidan and Emmanuel, and we are previewing the AFC and NFC Championship games, which will be taking place this Sunday. See which teams will be facing off in the Super Bowl. So, doing as we always do, we're going to preview each matchup, share some X factors, things to watch, important matchups, and we'll give our picks. If you remember our brackets, notably the three of us, Aidan, myself, and Dwayne, are banking on a Rams win in order to be correct. Meanwhile, Emmanuel has the Seahawks. Dwayne is the only person who can have his Super Bowl matchup still happen. He had the Rams Patriots. So a lot on the line here in this series. Without further ado, let's get started. In the AFC, it's the Broncos hosting the Patriots, a 1-2 matchup for the AFC title. So just a quick recap of how their last games went. The Broncos took the Bills to overtime, winning 33-30 on a game-winning field goal by Will Lutz, set up by a clutch interception by Jaquan McMillan, giving Denver their 13th comeback win of the season. Bo Nix was great, completing 26 passes for 270 yards and 3 touchdowns. Three different receivers caught touchdowns, while the defense, despite blowing the lead, forced 5 fumbles and interceptions alongside 3 sacks. However, it was revealed in the second to last play of the game that Bo Nix fractured his right ankle, ending his season, meaning the Super Bowl hopes are in the hands of Jarrett Stidham, who has 4 career starts. Patriots, meanwhile, fended off the league's best defense with a 28-16 victory over the Texans. May threw for 179 yards and 3 touchdowns, but he did have 3 turnovers. Ramondre Stevenson ran for 70 yards, while 3 Patriots receivers each caught a touchdown. Defense also played a key role, collecting 4 interceptions, including a pick-6 by Marcus Jones. So, Emmanuel, this is kind of a lopsided matchup.
Yes,
Do
sir.
the Broncos have a chance against the Patriots?
Uh, no. Then I'm gonna just keep it short and sweet. No. Um, Obviously, I'm going to go with the Patriots here by a comfortable margin. Broncos just lost their starting quarterback, like you said, which therefore also affects their defense because they're going to get tired because the offense can't produce, which doesn't give them a break. And my two X factors for this game, I got one for the Patriots and one for the Broncos. The Patriots X factor is mortar and pestle, wear down the defense of the Broncos, run the ball, let your defense get stops until the Broncos are broken down. And then the X factor for the Broncos is, by God's grace, pray that their backup quarterback is a reincarnation of Nick Foles. But other than that, there really isn't much the Broncos can do unless their defense puts up an amazing showing during that game.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I mean, as much as we want there to be a Nick Foles-esque run by Stidham here, I don't think he's anywhere near where Foles was at that year. Foles had a lot more time under his belt, a few weeks the regular season, plus more playoff rounds to kind of get to his peak in that Super Bowl against Brady. To be honest, I mean, Stidham's not a terrible quarterback. He's had his moments in his career. But if you look at the Patriots, they tend to just kill teams that have subpar offenses. And that's what I would expect from the Broncos. They haven't really given up an insane margin since the Bills in a month ago. When they've played the Texans, the Chargers, Dolphins, Jets, outside of when the Chargers are healthy, those are all kind of subpar offenses. And I think the Patriots defense uh, has really showed up in the last few weeks, and I think that's all it's really going to take. I think they're gonna have their moments to be able to score. I expect it to be a low scoring game, but I'd agree with Emmanuel. I don't think it'll be close.
Yeah, and that's the main thing for me with Denver is that their offense is too subpar. If this was a different offense around Stidham, he had a better supporting cast with like 1 or 2 elite receivers or good running back, we might be saying, okay, he could make something happen here with the pieces around him. But their offense isn't that exciting. They don't have like a guy, that he can throw the ball to and put him on his back. The run game for Denver has been really bad since week 9. They were one of the best. They had 137.8 yards a game through the first 8 weeks. And then since week 9, they're averaging 98.5 yards a game on the ground. Last game, Bo Nix was their leading rusher, 29 yards. So that's a big problem because now you basically don't have a run game. You're going to have to throw it. The Denver offensive line is pretty good, so maybe that can help Stidham at least get some open looks, but I still don't think it's going to be enough. Um, if anything, it is noteworthy that the Broncos have won 5 times scoring under 20 points because of their defense. The opponents only scored 9.5 points a game in those 5 wins. So they know how to win low scoring games because of their defense. But those 5 wins were against some pretty bad teams. If I remember, it was like the Titans and the Raiders. So it kind of makes sense against this is going to be the one of the better offenses they've had to play. So yeah, it sucks because I think if Knicks was playing, this would have been a really fun game because both these teams were kind of doubted all year. I guess they were kind of called overrated.
Yeah.
Broncos probably the most slept on 1 seed in recent history, and the Patriots had the easiest schedule, so people just kind of counted them out too. Um, so yeah, but yeah, I think we're all going Patriots for this one. All right, we'll flip it over to the NFC. It's the 1 seed Seahawks versus the 5 seed Rams in an NFC West showdown. The Rams outlasted the Bears in an overtime battle, winning 20-17 on a 42-yard field goal. The defense racked up 3 interceptions, the biggest one coming in overtime to kill the Bears' momentum and set up the game-winning drive. Stafford tossed 258 yards on 20 passes, but their 2 touchdowns came from Kyron Williams, who ran for a total of 87 yards. The Seahawks had it much easier, massacring the Niners 41-6. They got on the board immediately thanks to a 95-yard kickoff return touchdown from Rashid Shaheed, and they never looked back. Darnold only threw for 124 yards. Kenneth Walker did most of the work, rushing for 3 touchdowns on 116 yards. Their defense also played great as usual, recovering 2 fumbles and sacking Purdy twice. These division rivals split the regular season series. Rams won 21-19 in week 11, and then in week 16, the Seahawks won 38-37 in an overtime thriller. So, Aidan, who do you got?
Dude, it's a tough one. It's a lot harder than the last game. And I was thinking about it, and the 2 games that I want to focus on in the past was it 38-37 for that Rams game? Dude, I stayed up for that game and I was glad I did. That was an absolute thriller of a game. Um, and the Seahawks just outlasted them. And dude, that was an entertaining game. But honestly, the main factor I think is the Seahawks crowd last week in playing the 49ers was electric. I mean, they absolutely murdered them. Shaheed
Right.
had that touchdown to start the game, and they just didn't look back, you know. And I think simply momentum wise, I think the way the Seahawks are trending, the way the momentum is shaping up for them. You know, the Rams kind of got away with it against the Panthers, kind of got away with it against the Bears. Probably deserved to win both of those games, but I just think the Seahawks are a lot more of a formidable opponent than the Bears or the Panthers. So it's tough. I think it'll be close again. It might honestly come down to can Darnold simply just keep them in it? Can he not make mistakes the way he has in the past against the Rams? You know, the first time they met, he had 4 picks. This season, if you remember last year in the playoffs, when he was on the Vikings, he absolutely crumbled. Their D line just hounded him all game. I think the Seahawks are just better set up to support Darnold. Um, but I'm choosing the Seahawks.
Okay. I like that pick. And to your point there about the Seahawks fans, I believe on the Rashid Shaheed return touchdown, that even I think a small earthquake was registered because of that. So, yeah, Seahawks fans are absolutely electric when there's big plays. Love them. Used to be a Seahawks fan when I was younger. We don't talk about that now. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna go with Seattle over the Rams. Like you said, these two teams are extremely good, both monsters. But if I had to choose which one was the bigger monster, I'm gonna have to go Seattle. They can really see about Seattle. They can really do it all. They have a high power offense and an elite defense. While the Rams secondary is particularly weak, and the target point for the Seahawks offense, who has JSN and Cooper Kupp. Um, so my two X factors for this game for the Seahawks, we have. I was thinking control the line or thou shall not pass, either one. You want to make Stafford throw the ball to your strong secondary. I know they have Puka Nacua, and Puka Nacua can make almost any defense look silly. But I think if you shut down Puka, you obviously then have Devontae Adams. But I think the Seahawks should rely on their secondary, which is their strong suit. And then for the Rams, we have Hot by Gunna. Rams, you need to bring pressure on Sam Darnold. That way, you lessen the glaring weakness of your secondary. You give them some reprieve so they don't have to guard Puka Nacua or Devontae Adams for so long, and potentially make him make mistakes when he's under pressure, or even the wide receivers make mistakes because they know they have to get open as soon as possible because the quarterback's under pressure, which makes them hesitant or to just go to the route straight away, or they don't shift around enough, especially with Devontae Adams, who's an excellent route runner. But those are my X factors for this game, and I have the Seattle Seahawks beating the Rams.
Yeah, this is about as close as it gets. I can easily see both teams winning this. When I look at the Rams' last two games, they've shown me that they can win a close game. And I think that is a true mark of a winning team. I think of the Chiefs of recent years, they looked beatable, but they've found ways to win. I think of the Dodgers last year in baseball, a flawed team, but they found ways to win. And, you have Stafford who's won a Super Bowl before and a coach who's won a Super Bowl before. So I think that does mean a lot. Emmanuel, I'm gonna kind of bounce off some of your points. I've got some more advanced stats that I stole off of an article from NFL.com to make me sound smart. So the
Okay.
Rams have the most efficient pass offense, which I think we all would have guessed, and the Seahawks had the third most efficient pass defense. So that's a really intriguing matchup.
Mhm.
In week 11, when the Rams won, Stafford actually had a season low 130 pass yards. Now, as you mentioned, Darnold giving the ball away four times helped. He didn't really need to throw for a million yards. But that shows that the Seahawks have shut Stafford down before. But in week 16 in that shootout, Stafford had his best game with 457 yards despite the
Mhm.
loss. So obviously, Seahawks need to do whatever they did that first game, try to shut that down. Um, Seattle's offense, when it comes to play action efficiency, second best offense in the league. The Rams' defense against play action, they're the 24th most efficient team. So that is a weakness for them. Last week, we talked about Darnold, kind of the two sides of Darnold. And when he's at his worst, it's because he's getting pressured, right?
Yep.
Didn't have to worry about that against the Niners because they were banged up, didn't have a great rush defense. Play action dropbacks. Darnold is great, 130.6 passer rating, only 4 interceptions to 14 touchdowns. But on non-play action dropbacks, he has 10 interceptions, 87.2 passer rating. So the way I look at this is you got to pressure Darnold and you got to do it like you did week 11. You made him turn the ball over four times. So whatever you did there, do it again. Um, and yeah, so that said, I think the Rams have the advantage of being a team that's won before. They've they've been here, they've done that, and I think that this Darnold could easily fold. And if you put some pressure on it, that's going to cost them. So I'm going to stick with the Rams and riding with
Okay.
them the whole time. I'm going with the Rams. I think it will be close, but I think in a close game, I trust a team that's won before to pull it out. So that's my
Fair
pick.
enough.
And I believe Dwayne told me before the show he also is doing Rams. So got two Rams Patriots, Patriots Seahawks. We'll see who wins. All right. Any other closing comments about the games, about the playoffs so far?
I just wanted to say I completely enjoyed watching the 49ers get their teeth kicked in by the Seahawks, by the way.
Yes, but at the same time, that kind of made the loss feel worse, no? Because it was like this team's not
No,
even good.
no, we knew we weren't going to win that game with the Eagles because of our offensive coach. I didn't think we were going to win at least. And plus, they helped us out by getting our OC fired. And now we're in a situation where nobody wants to be a coach for the Eagles, which is a problem.
I think another thing with this game is you have to wonder what version of Stafford you're going to get too. I mean, he took a shot in that Panthers game as he was releasing the ball. He ended up spraining his index finger on his throwing hand.
Yes,
And that
that's right.
second half of that Panthers game, I think he was like 2 for 10. And he had a similar showing in the second half of the Bears game. And I don't think that injury, you can play through it. I think it's definitely gonna affect you. And so in Seattle outdoors. I believe that Week 16 game was in LA, where it's a lot easier to throw for 450 yards as opposed to outdoors in Seattle with that crowd. I think especially the way the Seahawks defense plays, like if he takes one hard hit or if he hits his hand again, I think it's a lot more likely that we're going to see the Stafford from the first matchup they had this year. So I think both quarterbacks kind of might have a Jekyll or Hyde game, and that probably will determine the outcome.
Yeah, for sure. A quick injury note on Seattle side, they don't have Zachary Charbonnet. He's out, so they had a really good running back tandem, those two in the regular season. So it's down to Kenneth Walker and then whoever their third string guy is. But Kenneth Walker has been playing great. In that Week 16 game, he had 164 yards. So I don't think that's too big of a hit on the offensive end.
That's just their goal line back with Zach Charbonnet being out, but Kenneth Walker
Yeah,
should be able to do the same job as Zach Charbonnet. Charbonnet.
definitely, definitely. All right, well, we will see what happens. We'll be back next week, break down the Super Bowl in depth. We'll spend a little more time on it, going, position by position. Hopefully, these are good games, even though one of them is kind of lopsided. Uh, and we will see you next week. So thank you for watching. Have a good one.